This video might be one of the hardest topics that I ever talk about.
You told me once to forget the past, because it doesn't matter. But nothing good came of it. There was no place for me to return to. This was the only place I could go.
When my dad passed away, it never occurred to me that I would meet a person that would be forever life-changing and would create a huge impact in my life the way that they did. And that's just because that person was introduced to me by my ex-boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. And I sound so unsure, and that's just because the way how that sounded really strange. But it's true. And so when I was looking at the time for an intern / photo assistant, the fact that I got recommended by a person who did not like me, who definitely was jealous of me, because my ex was someone who would always still have feelings for me despite dating her, I just thought it was a way for her to sabotage my career by recommending me somebody. But because this person approached and sent me a message to me stating that they wanted to meet with me for this job position, I gave it a chance. And I'll never forget that I thought it was the most hilarious thing that this person never left Jersey, in a sense that when I asked them if they were capable of going to New York City and going to Brooklyn and just having experience, this person was definitely not there yet, at least. And so that was the start of everything. We literally had a meeting, and then which led to us going to a location scout in Brooklyn, to the first time this person ever ate Shake Shack. And if you don't know what Shake Shack is, then you should Google it. But it was their first time experiencing eating it there, and from that moment on, I took a chance, a risk, to trust somebody that I didn't know to be a part of my life after such a traumatic life event that just happened. And I remember sitting on the steps near the Jane Carousel, near the Brooklyn Bridge, and telling this person that I'm used to not having best friends or close friends or having people around. And this person was someone I didn't even consider a friend yet. I literally solely saw it as somebody who just wanted to be my apprentice or someone that I was mentoring. And throughout the years, this person digested and learned anything and everything that I did. And it didn't all revolve around photography. It also revolved around the people in my life, the personal things that happened, and just knowing all the little secrets that I thought my own journal would probably only knew. And people would compare us to Batman and Robin, to any sort of duo, and when there wasn't one around, you'd always be looking for the other. And I thought for the longest amount of time, years, that we would never argue or fight. And I even said that to myself one time, that I can't believe that I met someone that I never had any negative feelings towards or ever just had any problems with. We always got along, and that was rare. And everything seemed okay. It seemed great. Not perfect because my dad wasn't around anymore, but life just seemed unbelievable in a sense that at least I found a person who made me feel that someone out there understood me, that I wasn't so different after all, and that they understood the inside jokes and thoughts that came up in my mind. And from there, it just was from being my photo assistant slash sidekick to being my best friend. The person that I always confide to, who I always felt that was always going to be there, that I felt that would never give up on me. And even when there were guys who would make me try to think twice about our relationship and our friendship, it never dawned at me that this person should not be in my life anymore. And people who know us would always, like I said, put two and two together. It was never really a sentence of just one. And to have this close, tight relationship, it was strange. It was strange. And something that I always think about, and sometimes this thought comes to mind, is when I hear the words of one of my exes telling me that out of all the people that are in my life, out of all the friends that they've ever met, this person in particular should be never disposed. Not in those exact words, but you get what I mean. You should never stop being friends. And I always took that to account. And I felt that. And so after now being friends and being best friends, and then literally experiencing one of our first fights, then we traveled literally to another country or countries, and I've never done that before. And this person has literally seen the most compared to a lot of other people in my life about the good and the bad in my life. And so where am I going with all of this? At this moment, after years of being friends and being in each other's lives and having each other's back, all the commuting, all the conversations, all the tears, the laughs, and creating things out of nothing, proving each other that oneself can accomplish the impossible. And I know it's a part of life, but it really sucks when you don't have a best friend anymore. The person that you just felt really understood you the most, that you could reach out to whenever you were in need, the person that when something good happens, you probably would want to tell first. That was that person for me. And recent years, things started to change on both ends, and that's also part of growing up. You meet more people in your life, you experience different things, your mindset changes, you have different interests. And for me, I always thought this person enjoyed being a part of my life, in a sense that everything that we always did together, it was okay with them. And to hear that it was so hard and so difficult to be around me in those times, I think that's one of the few things that broke me, because I thought it was okay with them all this time, and in reality it wasn't. And I think another thing that has brought me down is the fact that whenever I thought that I let them in my life, being a part of it, it was never a question. It was always just be there, because that's just how I always thought it would be. It never seemed complete without that person. But the other way around, it didn't seem the same way. It seemed that things were okay if I wasn't there. And I think one of the other craziest things that has happened is that with this pandemic going on, I thought that when shit hits the fan and let's say an apocalypse could have possibly happened, I thought that the people that mean most to you or are the closest would be there when things get hard, or you would want to at least reach out when things like something like that would happen. But instead, it was over almost a year of not hearing from each other. And that hurt. And also not being introduced to one of the closest people in your life, it just was weird. And what I mean by that is, this person didn't want me to meet their partner. And to each their own, this person might have thought that I would probably jeopardize it, or probably show their true colors on both ends. And that's because I'm someone who's just very honest, and I don't know, that person has their reasons for why they did what they did. And so for me, as very opening and warm welcoming I was to people, to not just this person, that's just who I am, to my life, this person withheld things that were happening in their life and people in their life, and I would hear things that people would know about me and hear all about me, but for some reason I was never included or invited to things, and that hurt. And everyone is entitled to wanting to have you come along or tag along, whatever you want to call it. But for me, I just didn't feel like it was fair. And so my invitations started slowly decreasing. And it also hurt because on my side, everyone would always look for this person and always would want to include them. And I don't understand why I wasn't. And maybe that's because these people in reality don't like me, and this person couldn't just have told me that. And you could say that I'm overthinking, but that's just my 2 cents. Why would you not be included if they were to like you? And so moving forward, it just was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of resentment on both ends, and a lot of trivial events throughout the years. And it seems you felt that it was resolved on both ends, but then in reality it wasn't. And for me, I don't like drama. And so when people say that my decision is very harsh, in a sense that I just cut people out of my life, and instead I could just maybe still stick around and just deal with the bare minimum. For me, I don't like doing that. I prefer to be my authentic and real self, being a genuine friend. And I don't know why someone would want to just stay around to be a half-ass friend. And it wouldn't be right because also I care too much to just show very little. And something that I learned throughout the years is that you have to look at people's actions more than the words that they say. And that's how a lot of people get taken advantage of. And so as I noticed the actions and they weren't going with the words, no matter how much this person told me that they always loved me and that they always thought of me and that they cared, no matter how many times I told them what it was that bothered me or upset me, or how they could improve or how they could do something about it, because they kept saying that they didn't know what to do. It seemed that they were paying attention at the time, but then they would just revert back to doing the same habits again. And I understand that it takes time to break habits, but it just was constant pain to just revisit those situations again. And it just felt like this person was just dissing me because they weren't respecting and acknowledging whatever it was that I said. And so for me, I just decided that this wasn't working out anymore. And this person has also mentioned that they didn't want to have this negative impact on me. And for me, I just felt that this was what was best, to separate. And I didn't want to just be in the middle where we weren't best friends, but we were just still friends, because for me, because I've experienced and saw that they were capable of showing what it takes to do the effort and to be this person that I witnessed and experienced with before, it just sucks to see them not be that person anymore. And I understand that there can be times when things aren't consistent, but it really hasn't been consistent. And it's not even reassuring to know that you don't ever know that if it's ever going to be the same. And so instead of getting hurt over and over again, I just thought and felt that it was better to just not be associated anymore. And I feel for this person because I always just hope that things would get better in their life and in every aspect. And it also breaks my heart when I know that someone out there has hurt them, because I've always felt that I wanted to be that superhero that would take that pain away, because that person would be the last person I would ever want to feel that. And I'm very thankful that I met this person because, like I said, they are one of the few who has created a life-changing impact in my life. And despite what everything that has happened, I just tell myself that that's just part of life, I guess. It's not like in the movies where you anticipate that the person's gonna turn around and you're gonna turn around, and then you realize and have this like epiphany that what you guys were feeling could be resolved and maybe you guys should take another chance. But the thing is that we've now taken a bunch of opportunities to resolve what has been going on, and it just seems that different factors keep coming into play, but we are still both the same two people that are involved in the situation. And even though things might slightly feel like they're getting better, in reality, maybe we were just lying to ourselves and it wasn't. And that's okay, because as long as we're both in a better place, I guess that's better than being hurt. So I just want to leave it at that. I just felt that I just wanted to voice out that friendships are hard. They're difficult, and by no means never thought it would be easy. And that it's hard when you start this bond and throughout time you create something and spend time on it, and then when it goes downhill, it's like you have to deal with the feelings of what has happened, and then you start over again if you choose to. So just wanted to say that, and who knows, maybe there'll be another story that I'll share that might be happier in regards to past events, because I feel that you meet people for a reason and you gain life experience, and hopefully you learn from them and stay positive in some sort of form of way. Okay, stay tuned to the next video. Sayonara. It's the end of the video, so don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't, it will help me in the long run. Okay, bye.